Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:30 p.m. on Friday, June 17th, 2022. Hope you're having a great Friday and had a good week. So we're going to get right into it, guys. I made a video last evening talking about trading with volume profile, and I used two different profiles. I used what you call a fixed range, and I also used a kind of a standard traditional volume profile that you set with just look back history in that video. And that encompasses really two of the four main types of volume profiles. So you can go back and watch that if you would like. This is a video using a third type, which is called a session profile indicator. And this is one with, again, it's pretty much what it sounds. It draws out a new volume profile for each trading day. So in Forex, each 24-hour trading period, it's going to draw out a new profile. Okay. Now I mentioned in the video last night that I wasn't using this type, and I'm still using the element primarily, but I'm doing a little back testing and a little examples. And trying to figure out whether I can use this particularly for day trading. And I believe I may have found something that could be helpful. Now, I'm going to focus this on the New York market, the New York Forex market, which runs from 8 a.m. New York City time until 5 p.m. New York City time. So in that market, the London session closes at 12 noon New York time. Okay, so you basically have a 4-hour overlap between the two sessions. Now, you could probably do something similar to this if you're trading the London session around the open of London, but since that's 3 a.m. my time, not really practical for me. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do this when I can be near the charts and not at 3 a.m. So, but if you trade London, you can certainly probably find a way to use this during that time as well. Okay, so just a quick review again. So what volume profiles are, so as opposed to the traditional profiles, volume that you'd see at the bottom of your chart with the vertical bars, which measures volume against time. Remember, volume profiles, no matter which kind you're using, so there's four major type of volume profiles, but they're all looking at volume versus price. So what is the volume at a particular price level? Okay, so right where I have my pointer right now, this is the volume at 134.668. I happen to be looking at the Euro Canadian dollar, and you can also see, you look up in this area right here when I put my cursor back. You can see this shows the buys and the sell orders basically within that area. So at this particular point in time, at this bar, there was 9.854 thousand. So what is that, 9 million? You'd have to add 3 zeros onto the end of that number. 9.854K, which is thousands. So you'd have to have 3 zeros. So what is that, 9.5 million or 900,000? Buys and about 12 million sells. So at that particular bar, there were more sells than there were buys. Okay, so that's not really important for what I'm doing. But again, so this was yesterday. If you go on YouTube and you Google Session Profile TradingView, there's a guy, I guess he works for TradingView because it's their channel, that does a 3-part series on their volume profiles. Mostly about how to configure it and set it up and what all these options mean. So I'm not going to get into all that. But, you can configure these in a lot of different ways. The only thing I really changed is I increased the number of rows to make it a little bit more granular. I think it defaults to like 20. And I think I made it, I made it 100. So it defaults to like 20. So it just makes these a little more granular, each one of these bars. And you can set it as high or low as you want. I like it to see it a little bit more granular. But anyways, that's not the main thing. And again, the point of control line is the line where the highest volume happens. Okay, and this can change over time, as you're going to see with some of these when I run these on replay. This is not static. This profile and this POC will change as appropriate during the trading day. Price obviously has to move a certain amount and the volumes have to change, but you will see the POC change during the time. So as of, the end of this session yesterday, this was yesterday's session, the POC was down here. And again, it's just pointing out where the highest volume was on this day, at this time. But again, this is dynamic and it will change during the course of the trading session quite frequently. Not always. If it's a really flat day, very low volume traded on the day, it might not move. Wherever it forms early on, it might just stay there. But most of the time, especially when you see a lot of price action like this, chances are it will move. And you can see from this one how at one point the profile was way up here and it got down here. I bet you we'll see that this did move, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's the point of control, which is this red line, which is very key to knowing this, and you absolutely have to have this. Okay. So that's the only. But again, the only thing I changed was the granularity of the rows. I really didn't change anything else. Oh, and I added in the period separators, so I can see each trading day. So that's these dotted lines. So this represents the beginning of one session to the beginning of the next one. So this is in between these two dotted lines is 24 hours of trading. Because Forex is a 24-hour market. So this is a 24-hour trading session. So for the sake of demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two vertical lines on this chart. I'm going to put one at 8:30 New York time. So this is a half hour after the New York start. Okay, I don't trade right at the open in New York because prices can be a little funky at that time, leading right into the open. I usually give it at least a half an hour, maybe even an hour before I take any trades, so I'll split the difference. So I have this line at 8:30 New York time, again, half hour into the New York session, obviously overlapping with London. And I'm going to add another line at noon, which is the close of the London session. That's the second line, then obviously at the dotted line is the end of the session entirely. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is replay. I'm going to open the replay function of TradingView. And I'm going to start it basically from the open of this day. Okay, and let me scroll over so we can see it. And I'm going to hit play, and I will pause it when we get to around the open of the New York session, and maybe even before that. So I haven't run it on this one yet, so let's see what we get. And this is today, by the way. All right, I can speed this up a little bit so we're not here all day. All right, so I'm just going to freeze this. You can see the POC forming. The profile is starting to form. POC is down here. So maybe this one doesn't move. You can see it just jumped up a little bit. Okay, price went down. All right, and let me slow this down. Okay, so right here, we are just at the open of New York sessions. This was the opening candle. Actually, this one was. So here's 8:15. No, this is 8:30. This is 8:45. So you can see why I like to wait. So I like to wait, like I said, a half hour is good for me. So somewhere in there, and you can see at this point, we are now trading above the point of control line. So this one actually did not move very much. You saw it move a little bit. But it did not move that much. I'll see if I can find one. I was looking at some other ones earlier where it did move quite a bit. But anyways, so basically the way you trade this now is, since we've established a point of control below price, that we're assuming price is going to go up on the session, at least until the close. And now this is, again, a day trading session. So you don't want to hold these trades outside of the close of the session. You might not want to even hold it beyond the London close, but certainly you want to close these by the end of the day. Okay, before the next Asian session starts, or before the end of the trading week, being a Friday. Okay, so I will continue to watch this for the rest of this session. We'll bring us right up to date. And oh, actually, this was yesterday. I'm sorry. So we can stop this. So, and you can see we did, in fact, go right up, and we actually kept going up really for the rest of the trading session, pulled back a little bit towards the end. But essentially, we made new highs right up until about 2:45 New York time, so a couple hours before the close. All right, so that is that. So you can see just kind of taking that. And let me go to, I don't know, let's go to, okay, so let's do this one. Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to find one where the POC may have changed and gone down or up from where it started. Okay, let's try this one right here. Okay, so this is the euro dollar. This goes back a few days ago. Actually, this goes back to last week. So let's do euro dollar. And again, we're going to start it here. Okay, start of the session. Again, let's add our lines for the beginning of the New York session, 8:30. Put another one here at noon. Okay, and again, this dotted line would represent the, whoops, or actually it's not going to draw it out yet because it hasn't run the replay. Okay, so let's start this, and we'll run it and freeze it. Okay, well, actually, you know what? So you can see you saw the POC change. Okay, we'll slow this down a little bit. All right, so I forgot to freeze it there. But anyway, so you can see here, POC was above price. Here's the New York Open, and price continued to go down. One thing I wanted to note about this is you see how far price has moved away from the POC. By the time the New York session opened, it had already moved really far. So I'd like to see them closer, within this real initial value zone at the time of the New York Open. But sometimes it's moved a lot. And so you can take these trades, but you have to understand that you probably definitely want to get out of these trades before the London session closes, or certainly no longer than that. And we'll see why here if I continue to play this. So remember, the second yellow line is the London close. And now, okay, so just see did you just see that? The point of control just shifted from here. Remember, it was just right here, and now all of a sudden, boom, it shifts way down here where all this price is, okay? This is what I'm talking about when how the point of control can shift. It just went from here, and it dropped all the way down to the bottom of this price action. And we'll continue to play this. So now most of the volume is happening right in here. And we'll speed it up. And there's the end of the day right there. Okay? So you got to be aware of where that is. But what we're concentrating on is where the POC starts in that first half hour of the London session. So it was below price and we went short. Now granted, like I said, price had moved quite a bit. And this is a 15-minute chart, by the way. But let's say we had gone short at the close of this candle right here, or anywhere in here. Let's just take it right from the middle. Maybe you were aggressive and just took it right away, and we rode it to the end of the session. You still would have made 50 pips. Okay, now the bulk of this trade happened earlier. This is probably like 60 or 70 pips from where the POC was originally. Now it was still only 52. It was probably 60 from the beginning, but so you lost about half the move on the way down, but still you did okay with it. All right, so let's go to another pair. So this is Aussie Yen. I'm just picking random pairs here. So let's go back to when is that? This was yesterday. Again, we'll throw our two lines on the chart, and let's see what happens with this one. 8:30 a.m. and noon. Okay, and this one will be interesting. So we start our replay over again right here. All right. We hit play. I'll let this puppy run. We'll speed it up a little bit to start. But watch where the POC, this is what you keep an eye on, is the POC. Here's the POC. Now see it moving around. As price changes, the POC will dynamically change with it. Now it's way up here. Now it drops again. Okay, very common. There's a lot of push and pulling going on. All right, now it's kind of set up where prices dropping, dropping, dropping. Still dropping, still dropping, still dropping. We still haven't hit New York yet. All right, and here's New York. Look what happened as soon as New York opened. Okay, take really clever note of this. This is why I also said you need to wait that half hour into the beginning of New York. Because if I had done this right at 8 a.m. when New York opened, which was this candle, the POC probably was technically still up here. It didn't drop down until here. So here's a half hour into New York. The POC just went from way up here to way down here. And now prices at the 8:30 candle and at, well, this is the 8:30 and 8:45. Price is now closed above the POC. So what you would want to do here, technically by the rule, is take a long position. So let's put it back on and keep playing this and see what happens. Price drops down for a while. Okay, and then look what happens. London closes and this thing just rallies up. All right, and there's the end of the trading day. So if you had gone long right here, based on that, let's say you had gone long here, you would have picked up 67 pips right here. Now, you had this where price continued to move down right here. So the next question is, where do you put your stop loss? Because if you had just put your stop loss below these recent swings, you would have been stopped out on this candle. Sorry guys, my phone's ringing. Only to have this turn and go in your favor, which would not have been a good thing. So where do you put your stop loss? Well, I think, probably what you need to do is maybe go to a higher time frame, look back and see where your swing points were. So if we go maybe out to a 1 hour chart and we look at this area, probably have to go out a little bit higher. Yeah, so here's our lines. So you probably would want to go pick a swing point, maybe over here. All right, so this is one of those things where, maybe let's go back to the 15 now and see where that is. Yeah, even there you would have been stopped out. So this is one of those ones where, maybe you get stopped out, and this would be very frustrating because you were right, you just got stopped out. So you got to give these a little bit of breathing room, because this is obviously a liquidity run. All right, there's still some sellers in here. You can see when the point of control changed, we still had more sellers. No, actually, we had more buyers here than sellers. Okay, and as we fell down this gradient, I'm just looking at the numbers, it was definitely a push and pull. Like one shows more sellers, one shows more buyers, and then finally it just bottoms out right here. Okay, and we go up. So, but theoretically, this was a buy signal, and it did in fact go up. It's just that it continued down a little bit, and maybe you got stopped out on this one, and maybe you re-entered here at the close of this candle, which would have brought you right back to about where you started. But you probably would have just broken even on this trade, because by the time you took this loss, maybe you made a little bit. Okay, so it's not always perfect, but ultimately it did go up. And so the POC shift was accurate. All right, so I don't know, let's just grab another pair here. Let's take something a little bit more heavily traded. Let's take Euro Pound. And let's look at this one maybe. I'm just picking these random, guys. Most of these, other than that Aussie Yen, because I wanted you to see the big POC shift, I just just picking these randomly. Alright, so let me mark off our 8:30 candle and then our noon candle right here. Okay, so there we go. know what that was. Okay. Replay right here. Alright, and let's watch this one play out. And we'll go full speed at first. Okay, notice where the POC is, right here. Let's see if it changes. It's pretty much staying in the same area. It's just, you see price jump, but it really didn't change it much because the volume wasn't there. I'm going to slow this down as we approach the New York session. Okay. Alright, here we are, 8:30 a.m. New York time right there at the yellow line. We can see we're below the POC. Price has been going down for a couple of hours now, so this is one maybe where you got to be a little cautious about how long you hold this, but let's just let it play out, at least till the close of London, and see where we're at. Alright, there's the close of London right there. Alright, so at this point, if you had gotten into the close of this one, you'd only be up about 17 pips. The euro pound doesn't produce a lot of pips, but it has a pretty high value per pip. So let's just see what happens through the end of the trading day. And you can see it continues to go down. We'll see when we get the end of the trading day here. There it is. Okay, so if you had held this one through the end of the day, say again, you got in right here, you held it, to somewhere down here, you picked up 60 pips, not bad. But again, the bottom line is this worked in terms of predicting the direction for the rest of the New York session. So I can keep doing this over and over, guys. So what I would recommend for stop loss is, again, to put it up above the swing of this session. So we went in down here. You want to put your stop loss up here. Now, that might not be a great risk to reward, or maybe you put it just above the point of control, but price can be manipulated around this point of control. So I probably wouldn't put it right here. I'd probably maybe put it up here. And if you get stopped out, in the case of that Aussie Yen trade I showed you before, you would have been stopped out because price kept going. But hey, that might happen. But I would say, put your stop loss on the other side of the POC, not right on it, maybe against a recent swing, so maybe like right here, and that would have given it. In this case, you came nowhere near being taken out. I mean, this candle, your entry candle was way down here. Not once did it ever even come back to the POC, even close. But if you get a news candle or a retracement, you could get something to wick up here, and you don't want it to take you out on a wick like this. Give it a little bit of breathing room, and then let it go. So I can keep going, guys, but I'm not going to just keep beating a dead horse. We're going 22 minutes here. So anyways, if you're interested in backtesting this, so this is on TradingView, by the way. I have a session indicator that I bought from my MT5 account. However, I don't like it because it's causing my computer to freeze up really, really bad. So I cannot use it. So I have a TradingView account, so I'm able to go back here. And the nice thing about TradingView is you can do this. It has this replay feature, which is really actually a very cool feature to go and back test. And because this is a session thing, you can go back and test this on any pair. I'm sure you can probably do this on any time frame too. But again, this is really for day trading, the New York Forex session. And again, the key point I would tell you is to not enter until at least a half hour into New York, so at least until 8:30 a.m. New York time, if not even maybe slightly later, but certainly no earlier than 8:30 before you make a judgment about where price is going to be. If you're not sure even at that point, then just don't take the trade. There's a whole bunch of pairs you could trade and go with. And if price is pulled all the way away from by the time, which is quite common, because there's a lot of volume during the London session, and if you get stuff like this, where there's very low volume here, where you get these notches like this is very low volume all through here, and these are all sell orders, all this gold color. That's why price just kind of sailed right through here. This is what I was talking about in my video last night. When you look at volume profile nodes, these nodes that stick out, these are higher volumes. Okay, so the more they stick out, the higher the volume is at that price. But you can see all through here is very, very little volume. And what volume is there are sellers, these gold bars. So there's nothing to stop price. And you can see the only place it hesitated was right here at this gold bar It hesitated right here, and we got some consolidation. Then we had another notch with more sellers. Price sailed right through there. Okay, and then we ran into more resistance, support down here. We had this one little pullback right here at this node, which is, this node's bigger than this node, and then we just continued down to the close. We had another little notch here. Price sailed down, and then again, this is right into the close. Okay. So that's the other nice thing about this, that shows you the buys and the sells based on color. So if price is going down, you obviously want to see more gold bars than blue, or bigger gold bars than blue, but I'm not so concerned about that because the direction has already been set. It's just that I'm just looking at the nodes to look for large nodes that could bind up price. But this is really nice to know, and you'll see this play out. But really what I'm looking for are these notches where there could be a lot of impulsive move to the downside, or if it's going up to the upside, because the less volume there is at any given price, as the market goes through there, it's going to sail right through these areas because there's nothing to stop it. Okay, there's very little volume, so price is going to sail right through there like a hot knife through butter, as it were. And like I said, in this case, these are all sell orders anyways. So again, sell, 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 all the way down to this node where finally there's some buyers in here and kind of bind things up for a little bit, profit taking, whatever, and then it just keeps going down until it hits this area down here. Again, higher volume nodes, and you see price bind up for one candle, and then it continues down again. Okay. So again, whether this is buyers trying to step in and buy up the market, but you can see the sellers are still in control here, much more selling than buying, so this is really nice. And, that's what happens. One candle, and then it keeps going down. All right, so that's it, guys. Day trading, the New York session using the session volume profile on TradingView on a 15-minute chart, and you could probably drill this right down to a 5-minute chart if you wanted to get more precise entries. I don't see any need to go lower than 15. It's just going to produce so much noise if you do that you might start second guessing yourself on a 5-minute chart. But here it is. Here's the same trade on a 5-minute chart. Here was our entry, okay, and just kept going down. It's going to show you the exact same thing, but it's just harder to see the bars here too. So I think the 15 is fine, but whatever. If you want to use the 5-minute, go for it. So, all right, guys. So questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comments below, and smash that like button. Help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're just finding the channel for the first time, hit the subscribe button. It should be somewhere down in the lower right corner of the video, if not down below. And then ring that bell notification icon so when I post a new video, you get notified, which in general is once or twice per week. I kind of come and go on these videos because I don't. This is not what I do, making videos. I just kind of do this as a help, but my primary thing is to trade. So, all right, and again, guys, to do this, you do have to have TradingView. I believe you can do this with a free TradingView account. The only thing is, in terms of having access to this indicator and the replay function, but I don't think, I think you have to have a paid TradingView account because I don't think you can get these minute time frames unless you have a paid version, but I'm not sure. You might only be able to go down to as low as the 1 hour, which you probably could use it on the 1 hour, but this is really meant to be a day trading strategy. So that's the only disclaimer, is that you might have, if you can't get the 15-minute chart or the 5-minute chart with the free version, which I'm not sure because I have a paid version, then you will have to invest in the paid version to be able to get this, down to the short time frames. But it's well worth it. As you can see, this works very well. Even if you just pick a couple of pairs every day where it's really clear, go for that and hold it at least till the end of the London session. I think that's a good strategy. So try it out, back test it. That's the great thing about the replay. You can find it, and that's it. Oh, and to find this, I'm sorry I keep talking here, but to find this indicator, just go to your indicators in TradingView and just search volume profile. Okay, and it's this one right here, session volume profile. You can use the HD one too, which is actually pretty cool. It just gives you like more granular detail. They're going to show you the same thing. Let me just favorite this one. I'll favorite this one too. And but either one of these is fine. But the one you're looking at on my chart is this one. This is session volume profile. And again, you can find it by under your indicators, and you can just favorite it if it's something you think you're going to use. And that's it. All right, guys, so I will leave it there. I hope you have a great rest of your day and weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.